Hi guys, this is Sharon at Life with the Tribe. Excuse me. Thank you so much for stopping by today. I am going to try my best to share with you what books I read in the month of February. I have a house of sick people, so I'm gonna be fast, and if my voice goes out or gets really scratchy, I just apologize now. So folks, it's so bad. I'm wearing my son's t-shirt because I am that behind in laundry. Okay, so I am diligently tracking my reads in my handy dandy journal. Best idea I have had in a long time was to pick up these journals on clearance for $1. Saves my brain. So here is what I have read this month. My toddler was just in here, so my books are all over the place here. So I've got to resort here. Okay, yeah. So The Diary of a Young Girl by Anne Frank. I started this in January. I finished it in February because my 17-year-old and 14-year-old daughters who had read it in January were like, you gotta finish it. And so I kind of just had to push them and finish it because I didn't really like it. It wasn't a favorite for me. I thought I would really enjoy it because I really like books, fiction and nonfiction, set during this time period of history. So I was really prepared to love it, and I just didn't. And I don't know why. I don't know if I just wasn't in the right frame of mind or mood, you know, if I just wanted a different type of book at that time that I was reading it. I'm not sure. So I just kind of reminded myself that Anne Frank was just representative of so many people who had nothing left behind, that when they were discovered, when they were taken and their life ended, that was it. There is nothing to remember them by. Their name, their voice, their face is just forgotten. And so for me, I just kept reminding myself that this was just a reminder of all those people. So there you have it. There are a couple of parts in there that could make some people uncomfortable. I had never read it in high school or anything, which I think is odd. Excuse me, but I hadn't, and so there is the parts where Anne talks about just the physical changes that she has, and just some feelings, and some thoughts that she had. It could make some people uncomfortable, or some people might prefer not to read that or allow their children to read it. I had no issues with my 14 and 17-year-old reading it, and it didn't seem to cause any issues for them, so just take that for what it's worth. I also finished up Macbeth. I am reading this. I am reading Shakespeare with my children during our morning time. We assign parts and read it, and it's great fun. Okay, maybe Macbeth wasn't that fun. It was kind of heavy, but we did finish that in February. We also started and finished this month The Tempest, which is a Shakespeare comedy, and it is quite hilarious, and we enjoyed it immensely, and I had great fun playing my parts. So great fun. I will try to remember to link up below link up below my video on how we do Shakespeare. It's super simple, but it is effective, and we are clearly reading Shakespeare and enjoying it, so our method is oddly enough working for us, I think. So I also finished On the Edge of the Dark Sea of Darkness by Andrew Peterson, which is book 1 of the Wingfeather Saga. This was actually a family read aloud. My older ones have already read through this series a few years ago. My plan was to read it to my younger ones, but my husband overheard me one night and just really enjoyed the part of the story that he heard, and so I bumped it to our family evening read aloud so that my husband could join in with us. This is just really great adventure, fantasy, just it's funny, it's witty. Andrew Peterson just seriously is just a gifted writer, and I'm getting ready to, that's my daughter. My daughter actually owns book 1. I'm getting ready to order book 2. We are a large family living in a small house, and so shelf space is a huge commodity in this house. And so if I buy a book and allow it to take up space on my shelf, that is high praise. And I am going to be buying book 2, and as we read it, keep buying the other ones until I have the whole series. That's how much we enjoyed that book. So there you go. My husband bought me Mere Motherhood by Cindy Rollins for Christmas, and I started it in January. It's Mere Motherhood, Morning Times, Nursery Rhymes, and My Journey Toward Sanctification. Cindy Rollins is a homeschool mom of 7 kids, I think, and her oldest is like a junior or senior in high school. She's no longer homeschooling him, but she does homeschool another child outside of her family now. So for me, this was not a book of like great revelation that changes my life forever. This was more of just a kind of refresher for me as a homeschool mom. I have a 19-year-old who has graduated. I have a senior who will be graduating in just a few months. And then I still have little ones that have yet to even begin their formal schooling. And so for me, it was just kind of like, take a deep breath. You're doing a great job. You're not nuts. Other people have felt the same way as you. So I enjoyed it just in that aspect, you know, just like having a conversation with a fellow homeschool mom who's been exactly where you are. And I think just sometimes having that understanding voice there is just encouraging and helpful. So I would definitely recommend Mere Motherhood if you're just in need of some encouragement. I did make myself read it slowly, and as you can see, I've got my little book darts all in there marking stuff. I made myself read it slowly because I tend to read quickly, and so a book like that, I would have just read it quickly and then wouldn't have remembered anything that I had read. So I forced myself to spread it out over 2 months so that the things would just kind of stick in my mind and I could kind of just ponder them for a bit. So that's how I did that. I also read The Graves of Fine and Private Place by Alan Bradley. It is a Flavia de Luce novel, and I do love it so much. We knew that it was coming out early this year. I had been stalking my library, so as soon as I saw that it was on order, I went ahead and put it on hold so that we would be one of the first ones to get it. There's my, let's see. These are mystery books set in 1950s England. The main character is Flavia de Luce, who was 11 at the beginning of the series. I think she's 12 now. And so she somehow manages to stumble into these murder mysteries. And then she is quite intelligent and loves chemistry. And so she always, gets it done in here. I just love these. I think I like the mystery aspect of it, but I think what I really like is just how Flavia's character has developed through the books, and just her relationships with the other characters in her family and in her town or village. I think it's just really well done, and it's just enjoyable, and I just really like them. And I'm not a huge mystery person. I read mysteries and I enjoy them, but they are not like, I don't read like every one that I come across, but I really highly recommend these. I do. My 12-year-old has even started this series because there's not really language in here and stuff, and so at 12 I think she can handle these books. So, I mean, it could be different families, different values. So I'm not just giving just a broad, you know, let every 12-year-old pick it up and read it. I just have no problem with my 12-year-old picking it up and reading it. Even my son has read a few of them. So even though the main character is a young girl, I think anyone, my husband has listened to some of them on audio. So enjoyable by a wide audience and just really well done. And Alan Bradley, I really hope there's more Flavia coming. I really do. And the last book I read, I got in just at the little almost stroke of midnight at the end of February, which was Before We Were Yours by Lisa Wingate. I'm guessing it's how you pronounce her last name. And guys, this is so good. I cried at the end, and I don't know, me and a couple of my girls just love a book that makes you cry. This is based on true events. It's not a true story in itself. The characters are all fictional and stuff, but it is set in 1939 and modern day. It goes back and forth. You've got really two different people telling their stories here, and then they kind of all intersect together. But it is about children who were literally stolen and taken to an orphanage and then sold to people of wealth and high society, politicians, things like that. And it went on, it wasn't shut down until like 1950. And so it's just a heartbreaking story of this group of siblings that get stolen from their parents, and then they get split up. And it just tells us that just horrific story in our history. And when I always like to read the little author's notes at the back, and so just even finding out how the lady who headed this whole operation up really just had so many people deceived, and she had so many people under her control that would just overlook what she had done, and that even after it all came to light, it was still made where families could not find their children and be reunited. It's really heartbreaking. But a little part of history that I wasn't familiar with. So not only did I get to enjoy a bittersweet, beautiful story, but I learned a little bit of history in regards to orphans and just, the not so lovely moments in our history. So I think, let me double check my handy dandy notebook real fast. I think that is all that I read this month, I think. So I definitely recommend the Flavia DeLuce book. I recommend them all, really. Not so much The Diary of a Young Girl, Anne Frank. That one, I think I don't know. It just didn't work for me, and I hate that. But I didn't enjoy it, just being honest. So those were my February reads. I will likely have a blog post at some point linked down below in case you just want to see them that way. I will link them most likely to Amazon. So I like to go to Amazon and just read reviews and kind of see what other books are kind of recommended. It kind of gives me a feel for, what the book has to offer me. I have no clue what I'm reading in March, because I always have like this stack and I say this is what I'm going to read, and then my mood changes, or I hear of another book and I just kind of change my mind. I do need to update my Redeemed Reader reading challenge list, and because I haven't done that yet, so I need to do that as well. So I'm not as caught up as I thought I was. So anyway, I've got sick people on the couch. I've got a toddler who is super cranky and fussy, and I bribed one of my teenagers with chocolate to just please watch him for 15 minutes so I could get this done. And I've got to go figure out dinner, and all that other mom stuff is going on, and I got to jump back into that. So I just thank you for stopping by today. I would love to hear what you are currently reading, what you read last month, what you're planning to read this month. If you've read into books that I read in February, I'd love to hear your thoughts. And if you enjoy The Diary of a Young Girl, please share with me why. I might even reread it. It just bothers me that I didn't enjoy it. I just need to let it go. Okay, so you guys make it a great great day. I'm going to try to make it a great day here, what's left of it, with me and all my sick people. So I will catch you guys next time. Have a blessed day.